everyone. Humanity's transformative impact on the Anthropocene is commonly attributed to climate change. However, we'd argue that no-code's ability to impact the rate of innovation and create opportunities for social impact is even more relevant. And with that, I am humbled to introduce this next session, Immerse's Demo Day and Showcase, as I think it is the true manifestation of our mission here at Bubble. And so with that, please welcome Emmanuel onto the stage to say a bit more.
Hello again. Great to be here and great to introduce this Immerse Demo Day. Immerse is something that I'm very passionate about. It's actually kind of my brainchild back in 2020, and so I wanted to share a few words about how we came to do this. I think it goes back actually to the founding story of Bubble. We didn't start Bubble thinking, okay, we're going to build a no-code tool, or even, okay, we're going to make programming visual. The initial vision and reason behind starting the company was that back in 2012 was what I would call the beginning of the startup era. And we started seeing a lot of people having ideas and looking for a CTO to get it to life. And often we would find that the people who had the biggest challenges to find a partner to build a company were either people that didn't go to the right schools, because if you had been at MIT without being technical, you would have exposure to technical talent to help you build your company, or people that just had access to capital, because ultimately, if you have money, you can find engineers. And we felt it was very wrong, because a lot of people that were coming from backgrounds that did not give them access to either the technical talent or the financial resources to find this talent had ideas that applied to their environment could make a tremendous difference for people. And so Bubble was our response to this. So again, it was not the idea of building a no-code tool. The idea was to make technology accessible to everyone, regardless of where you're coming from. And so that's what we've been doing, for 12 years now. But fast forward 2012, 2020, for people that are from the United States, people that are not from the US, that might be a little bit more distant. But for people from the US, we all remember what happened in 2020. The summer was a summer of very intense racial tensions in the country. And many companies started thinking, okay, how can we be part of the solution here and help out? And for us, we felt like the mission of the company was so aligned with that, with many solutions about that very problem, that we had a unique opportunity to help out in a very authentic way, and that became Immerse. And so the first cohort started late summer of 2020. Nicole, that I'm going to introduce in a minute, was actually part of it. And it was a way for us to help a few selected founders even more than just giving them access to our product, but helping them, learn how to learn the product as fast as possible to build their product and offer advice as they're building their product and scale their product. Some of them actually did pretty well after this, which is something that is very exciting for me to watch. So today, it's now the 7th cohort that you're about to see. We've done 6 cohorts so far. So without further ado, I want to introduce Nicole on the stage. She's our Director for Founder Inclusion, and as I said, was a member of the first cohort and now runs the program with a lot of, is able to do a lot of things with a very small team, because it's her and another person named Monica that you'll see in a few minutes as well. So want to give them a big round of applause for all the work they're doing, and very excited to watch the demo.
All right. Thanks, Emmanuel. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about why we're here. So first things first, we're here to celebrate no-code entrepreneurship. And so the 2 things I want to call out is speed first. We actually had a founder in our program that told us that he built 80% of his app in a 2-week sprint. Not a lot of people can lay claim to that, right, if you're building on Bubble. And then secondly, agency. So I think every founder in this room or anyone who's built anything on Bubble is very clear that that control, that agency is something that most founders would love to have when it comes to building product. And so that's something that we love about no-code entrepreneurship and that we celebrate in Immerse. Secondly, we're celebrating social entrepreneurship. So we're here in New York City, and some of you may recall that a few years ago, world leaders got together and they decided they wanted to work on 17 main goals. They called them the Sustainable Development Goals. And while it was a lofty idea back then and very noble, In 2024, actually, we found that 4 out of 5 people in this room and actually in the world are living in countries where the social progress index is actually declining, right? So for that reason, we're really excited that we have a social impact cohort that's focusing on ideas or in the subset of things that the world leaders found very important. And so we're proud to celebrate social entrepreneurship with this cohort. And so let's talk a little bit about what comes next. So first things first, you guys are going to see the finalists. They're phenomenal, if I'm biased, and I do say so myself. You're also going to vote your community favorite. So we do have a judge panel that I'm going to introduce in a moment, but they're not the only ones who are going to make a decision this evening or this afternoon. You guys will also get the opportunity to vote your community favorite. And then you'll also we have a very special segment here, a mini fireside with 2 female founders that some of you may remember if you voted for them and saw their pitches several cohorts ago. Both Esra and Antonia are going to talk a little bit about their post-Immerse journey. And then last, we'll present our grand prize winners. And so for those of you who are not familiar with our program, I want to talk a bit about what it is that we do. So we differentiate ourselves as a product-focused, a product-oriented pre-accelerator that's designed to help underrepresented founders and also themed founders with the skills to build robust apps in 8 to 10 weeks. And so I want to call out, this is super special to me, our Immerse product mentors, because some of them are in the room. We have Brenton, Brian, Harish, Hassan, Julie, Jacob, Kelly Claus, Nick Yagi, Prashant, Pedro, Peter, Paul, Tanvir. Major thanks to all of you guys for making sure that our founders got to this position. Yeah, please join me in giving them a round of applause. And so next I want to introduce our judges, our 3 judges. First up is Victoria Kennedy. Victoria Kennedy is a former product leader turned investor. We also have Alez, and some of you guys may recall the AMA that he did yesterday. Alez is a Bubble language and product expert with 5 years of experience growing the platform as a founding engineer. And then third, we have Missy. Missy has 20 years of crafting product and brands. And Missy says that we need to taste with our eyes. So she pays close attention to things like information architecture, iconography, and imagery usage. So if you guys can help me give a round of applause to our judges who are here. So before I introduce our very first finalist, I want to talk about what we need you to do. So first up, listen up and take notes. I think that a lot of the ideas you'll see presented here, the products that you see here actually will resonate with many of you. Take notes, come up and talk to the founders about their ideas. I'm sure there are some collaborations that are potentially could happen in the room. And then secondly, as I mentioned, we want you to actually take out your physical phone and vote on Ring Central, because as we said, our judges here are not the only ones making decisions. And then last, spread the word. So Immerse founders, Immerse at Bubble, of course, Bubblecon 2024 are the hashtags that we're using. So I know all of us have that one friend that's been talking about the idea for years. So please spread the word and let them know that this is happening this evening. Maybe they might be inspired. And so with that being said, I'm excited to introduce our very first finalist tonight, which is Kai Patricio, right here from Brooklyn. Yep, round of applause. That's his product mentor, by the way. So Kai is building in Bubble to support adaptive fashion, and we're excited to have him kick us off. Kai, go ahead, take the floor.
Imagine a world that isn't built for you, where doors are closed off, where the clothes on your back don't align with who you are. You might not think about it much, but clothing is a language we wear on our bodies, telling the world our story, our values, and our sense of self. Hello, my name is Kai. I'm the co-founder of Remend. We're an adaptive fashion tech company, and we believe that fit is equity. Beyond its practical purpose, clothing is an expression of our personality and who we are. And today, people with disabilities struggle to find comfortable, fashionable clothing. There are many reasons for this, but I'll highlight 3. The first is low supply. There's simply fewer options when it comes to people with disabilities and clothing. And because of that, it can be high cost to get clothing that is both functional and fashionable. And then beyond that, there's a lack of customization on the market. It's hard to meet everyone's unique style. The solution is Remend. We are a 2-sided marketplace connecting clients and community-based tailors to make clothing and fashion fashionable, accessible, and functional for all. We partner with community and home-based tailors and ensure that our users can get the perfect fit every time from the comfort of their own home. Remend is fully customizable. Anything can be remended, from punk to prep. Remend is sustainable. Fast fashion contributes to 50% of global water usage each year and 10% of global carbon emissions. With Remend, we can upcycle existing wardrobes. Remend invests in community. We partner with small and home-based tailors to ensure that the majority of the revenue stays with them. There are over 70,000 tailors in the United States alone, and we aim to partner with them. Out of this partnership, we have developed a 20-point measurement system for recording the unique size of any individual. We've done this alongside tailors. But let's talk about the market, because some of you might be thinking that this is a niche market, but it's actually massive. 1 in 6 people globally experience a significant disability. That's 1.3 billion people. 1 in 4 in the United States. Today, the adaptive fashion market is a $16 billion market, but by 2029, it's anticipated to be a $30 billion market. But this exists within a much larger spending block. In the United States alone, working-age adults with disabilities have a purchasing power of $490 billion each year. And if you include their family and friends, globally, it is a $13 trillion market. It's a moral imperative to design for inclusion and accessibility, but it's also a massive economic opportunity. And these numbers are great for this room, but what motivates me and my team is that we believe that disability is everywhere, and that Remend, as an inclusive product trying to make fashion accessible for all, is a product for all. Whether you are a child growing up with a mobility impairment, an older adult who just moved into a wheelchair part-time, a veteran with a prosthetic, or an able-bodied woman who just wants to have pockets in your pants. We are Remend, and we are here for you, and I'm so excited to show you our MVP. Thank you.
Meet M. They are a wheelchair user on Remend. They have 1 pair of jeans remended already, but they just found a jacket in their exact style that needs an adjustment. They know that with Remend, they can get it altered easily with a reliable tailor network. Since they are an existing user, they've already uploaded their size to Remend after onboarding. Remend makes it easy to record your size via a tailor-approved system. For each measurement, there's an instructional video and easy ways to record your size. From the home page, M clicks New Order to start the process. From here, they select the garment that they are altering, as well as the service that is required. If they have any questions about any type of service, they can find out more by selecting the info icon. After they select a service, they can upload any specific details or images that may be relevant to altering their jacket. They trust this process as every alteration can be different. They know that with Remend, they will get the information they need to the tailor. They upload an image and make a note of what they want to adjust. After they upload their details, they are brought to a view where they can compare tailor prices and view the location of each tailor. These are certified tailors on the Remend platform, and M trusts that they are experienced with adaptive fashion alterations and easy to find. Having previously had to search for tailors manually, they are happy with how simple it is to find a tailor with Remend. After they select a tailor, they will be brought to the shipment page, where they will input the package size and weight of the shipment to the tailor. They can also confirm the address in this view. Once they confirm the order, M is brought to an order completion page, where they can print the shipping labels in PDF that will be shipped to the tailor for their order. From the order detail page, M can do a number of things related to the order. They can view the tracking on their shipments, reprint shipping labels, or documents related to their order, and other details for this transaction. M is confident their garment is in good hands because they can message the tailor directly through Remend. But to tell the complete story of Remend, let me introduce you to another user of the platform, Peyton. Peyton is a tailor on the Remend platform. They are a community-based tailor in Brooklyn who just received an order from M for a jacket alteration. They are notified by email and receive the jacket directly to their business. From there, they have all the information they need in the attached order PDF and order detail images. They are able to easily make the alterations and update M that the order is on its way back to them in the chat. Back on Emp's side of the platform, they receive a message and view an update on the order detail page. They are excited to receive their new jacket with the perfect fit in a matter of days.
Hi.
Hello.
That was great. I had a question about revenue. So you said, I'm assuming you're taking some cut of the services, but I would love to understand how you're thinking about that.
Yeah, definitely. So we are planning on having a 5% take rate on every transaction, which is, I think, slightly more expensive than Etsy, but cheaper than Shopify. And that's how we're, so service-based revenue model. Yeah.
I always, I love the presentation and the way that you presented like the entire market that you could address. The question that I had here was maybe have you run some like estimates with that 5% cut about what you could estimate to be making from individual pieces, how much they're going to be expected to cost in order to be profitable?
Yeah, certainly. I think as a like kind of an annual gross, we haven't anticipated that. But the costs, say, for altering a shirt, so for hemming a shirt or altering it in some way, the tailors we talked to, somewhere between $12 and like $16, which is really important to us to make sure that's still affordable. And the shipping beyond that is anywhere from like $6 to $8, depending in the United States. And so 5% from that, I guess, yeah.
I had a question about the first really great presentation. I really appreciate it. I had a question about the landscape. Have you seen any competitors out there? And if so, who are they and how are you different from them?
Yeah, great. So adaptive fashion today is a market that has a lot of like smaller brands, but then there are also some in-house lines within, say, Target or Tommy Hilfiger. But those are all dedicated production lines for adaptive. And then our kind of indirect competitors are just people reaching out to generally the tailors. But we think that what the benefit of Remand and something that we've heard in our discovery time and time again is customization and sense of style, and like having it so while there's amazing brands, we feel there's a massive market for making sure that everyone can have their own style. And with that, you need some form of alteration, customization built into the service, which is why we made Remand.
I had a follow-up question, kind of thinking about how you define disability, and also like what are you thinking about it as your primary target customer at the moment?
Yeah, so I guess the line that we say is that disability we think of as the largest minority in the world, and it can encapsulate a lot of different, from mobility, neurodiversity, mobility impairment, or wheelchair user, and that's been our kind of lead user. But it's really important for us as an ethos to make sure that we're designing for accessibility, not for disability. So we're not trying to limit the outreach, which is what traditionally is done in fashion. You design for one particular type of person, but we're trying to say we're designing for accessibility. So, and we really believe that it can be a product for all. And actually, I should point this out. What I'm wearing right now was altered with the Remand tailor system method. So, and I am a tab. So yeah, we really think it's a product for all, but we really think accessibility is important. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Patrick, who is building a bubble to reduce recidivism.
Hello, everybody. My name is Patrick Movell. I'm a social entrepreneur from Ireland, and I'm honoured to introduce the Spear Nua project, meaning New Horizons. This project supports people coming out of prison to break the cycle of reoffending. Spear Nua was founded by Damien Quinn. After a troubled upbringing, Damien was arrested and sent to prison. Although prison environments often reinforce negative behaviours, for Damien, those 3 years became a rare chance to break away from his past and focus on the education that he had missed out on. But on release, reintegration proved more challenging than prison itself. Job opportunities and even volunteering were out of reach because of the stigma related to his criminal record. But this isn't just Damien's story, this is a global issue. In Ireland, it costs over €84,000 per year to keep one person in prison. That's the equivalent of 3 junior teachers' salaries, and yet nearly 45% of people reoffend within 1 year. The US faces similar challenges, with up to 70% of people reoffending after 5 years. So the mission of Spear Nua is to strengthen communities by breaking the cycle of reoffending. And if reduced reoffending becomes the North Star, we need to plan on how we're going to get there. And this starts by building peer-to-peer networks based on lived experience and providing those with the assessment tools that they need to create a holistic view of people beyond their criminal past. After this assessment, Spear Nua can tailor education programs to build confidence and skills to help with reintegration. And many people in these situations have complex needs. They may require access to housing, legal services, or counselling. And with these foundations in place, we can then begin to access employment opportunities. A key part of the Spear Nua project is this idea of paying it forward, so those that complete the program have the opportunity to support others coming out of prison, creating a virtuous cycle of change. Because as Damien notes in his own experience of people in prison, they do want to give back. They want to be someone, and they want to move beyond the label of their past. So Spear Nua then becomes a trusted peer-to-peer network that validates a person's commitment to change. For revenue, we will be primarily targeting government contracts. And if you remember, if we can keep just 10 people out of prison, we're saving the governments over €800,000 per year. We also aim to expand to business partnerships, offering companies the chance to enhance on their social impact. And our network will provide digital tools to service providers, giving them access to the supports that they need to improve their services. As our network matures, we'll be able to provide anonymized data, insights, and research to policymakers and research institutions as another key source of revenue. So we're already seeing results. We currently provide training and support to all 12 prisons in Ireland. This means that over last year, we supported over 200 people through peer mentoring, training, and leadership programs. And we do this with the support of 20 key service partners that work across academia, community, and government. This project has the potential to create significant social return on investment. Families will experience improved stability. Local employers will gain access to skilled and motivated workers. Government will save on criminal justice and welfare costs. And communities will become safer and more cohesive. So thank you for listening. Damien's story is a testament that everyone wins when someone turns their life around. And we believe that no-code tools like Bubble can expand this impact to thousands more people, transforming the lives of people and communities in that process. So you'll now see a walkthrough of the application built throughout the Immerse program. Thank you.
Spear Nua addresses a critical gap in the rehabilitation process for people with criminal convictions. Our evidence-based disclosure model focuses on an individual's efforts to change. For someone coming out of prison, this begins with a baseline assessment, which is carried out with the support of a peer mentor when a client first signs up for the application. The assessment covers 7 key areas: interpersonal trust, educational attainment, health and well-being, inspiration and motivation, self-direction, resilience, and reflection. This holistic approach provides a detailed understanding of an individual's current situation and their potential for growth. The client and the peer mentor will walk through this comprehensive assessment process together, a summary of which is demonstrated here. Upon completion, clients receive scores and tailored recommendations to guide their rehabilitation journey. Central to SpearNua is our integrated planning tool. Clients set achievable goals based on their assessment results and break these down into manageable actions. For example, improving essential life skills might involve taking a budgeting course. This feature encourages accountability and helps to establish the routine necessary for successful reintegration. To support these goals, we've partnered with well-established education providers, offering a curated selection of resources including articles, videos, and online courses. This keeps our clients engaged in continuous learning and personal development. Recognizing that practical support is often crucial for successful reintegration, we've incorporated a directory of local services covering areas such as housing, counselling, and legal services. This feature directly addresses fundamental needs that, if unmet, may increase the risk of reoffending. And crucially, SpearNua tackles the challenge of employment. Through collaboration with employers across various sectors, we provide a list of relevant and meaningful job opportunities. This feature not only assists our clients in finding work, but also connects employers with individuals actively working towards positive change. These components are integrated into a user-friendly dashboard, serving as a practical tool throughout the reintegration process. By combining peer support, assessment, goal setting, and access to education and employment, SpearNua aims to reduce the risk of reoffending. Our initial pilot has shown encouraging results with successful job placements and reduction in recidivism rates among our clients. Given that approximately 600,000 individuals are released from prisons annually in the US, there is significant scope to expand our impact beyond Ireland. We invite government bodies, funders, and aligned organisations to join us, whether through investment, partnership, or collaboration, and your involvement can significantly enhance the rehabilitation process. If you're interested in contributing to reduced recidivism rates and more inclusive communities, we welcome your contact. Together, we can make a tangible difference in rehabilitation. We look forward to potential collaborations to strengthen our communities and transform the lives of people coming out of prison.
Thank you so much for your presentation. My question is around the quality of the peers. How do you maintain a good level of peers to be a part of the peer group and maintain the quality of those peers?
Yeah, so one of the strategies we have at the moment are creating leadership programs. So this is in partnership with the probation service in Ireland. So they go through like a 12-week program where it's leadership, but it's peer-to-peer leadership. So they're learning from each other and they're getting support from various different agencies and services. And that builds the confidence that they have then to go and support others coming out of prison.
I'm curious about this, what you learned so far from the pilot and what are your different KPIs that you've been measuring?
I think it's been a learning journey about how complex this whole thing is, and it's really about trying to build and develop as many partnerships and relationships as you can. We know that an app isn't going to solve this. We know that we're not one organization that's going to solve this. So how can we create those connections and maintain those relationships over time? So there's a lot of trust building. There's a lot of on-the-ground work outside of the app. But we feel like the app can help to bring all of that together, create the data that these partners need, and help to strengthen those relationships as well.
Maybe a last small question. I wanted to ask, since you said you had a trial with about 12 people, I'm curious in understanding how they generally receive the product. Basically, all the journaling features might be maybe overwhelming at first and everything, and I wanted to know how you have been dealing with that and potentially making it more acceptable.
Yeah, so a lot of the trialing that we've been doing at the moment is offline, and so we're involving those people then in the process of developing the app. So the MVP that we've developed through the Bubble Immerse program, we plan on stripping that right back and then introducing each feature with the feedback of those lived experience networks, because we really want lived experience to come true as a core part of our service offering.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have Renee, who's building in Bubble to increase access to legal tech.
Thank you. My name is Renee Jackson. I'm the founder and CEO of Dispute AI. I'm a first-generation lawyer raised in a blue-collar family, and I've spent the last 10 years working in tech. And it's really important to me to use everything that I've learned in the past 10 years to help people who cannot afford to hire a lawyer. Because the legal system in the United States has become pay to play. And that means if you don't have the resources to hire an attorney, you do not get full access to the US legal system. The driving factor in deciding whether to pursue a legal claim is cost. And those who can't afford a lawyer either attempt to represent themselves or they drop their claim entirely. And that leaves many everyday disputes unresolved. And these are disputes that maybe you've experienced in your life: workplace conflicts, landlord-tenant disputes, minor breaches of contract. And then what happens is, to add insult to injury, those who do pursue their claims are met with flawed early dispute resolution methods like mediation and arbitration that are also expensive, usually in person, always emotionally draining, always time-consuming, and you can end up with a very biased mediator. All of this together leaves us with a legal system where legal help is a luxury item. It can cost up to $500 just to file your case, $327 an hour to hire an attorney, $3,000 to mediate, and tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to litigate your dispute fully. And it also costs time. The average case takes 18 to 24 months to resolve, not to mention time spent preparing for your case, time you've taken off work. The solution for this is Dispute AI, an affordable, accessible, and unbiased online dispute resolution platform for all. So how does it work? In June, we launched an AI letter generator where a user in a dispute with another party answers questions about their dispute, and the AI generates a custom letter that the user can then edit, sign, and send in platform to the other side. Since our launch in June, we've had 13,000 website visitors and 10 paying customers, which I'm very happy about. What I'm really excited to talk about today is what I've been building in Immerse, which is an AI mediator. For those of you who haven't been to mediation, I'll explain to you how this works. One party in the dispute answers questions about the dispute and invites the other side to a virtual mediation. The invited user answers the same questions from their point of view. The AI mediator, Adri, who you'll meet shortly, makes settlement proposals for them to accept, reject, or modify. Adri takes feedback on each proposal, and the process repeats until either both parties accept, big fireworks, or one party decides to end the mediation. The opportunity is huge. The global mediation market is over $7 billion. The US mediation market is over $500 million. And the global online dispute resolution market is $57 million and growing steadily since COVID. And there are no competitors in the AI-led mediation space yet. It just does not exist. This will be the first of its kind. So we are going to market with a freemium business model. I worked in gaming for a while, and so the freemium model is something that really resonates with me. The mediation is free if the dispute is not resolved. It's $68 if you're able to successfully resolve your dispute. The letter packages range from $14 to $24, ensuring you can resolve your dispute from start to finish for under $100. And generally, a mediation will take under an hour. So I invite you to check out the platform. If you have a beef with someone, we need feedback, we need success stories, so use Bubblecon 15 for 15% off of your demand letter. Shortly, you're going to see a demo, and it's a hypothetical conflict between two parties, a former employee and her former employer. So thank you so much, and please enjoy the demo.
Emma was fired from her job at Zelica Technologies 1 week after telling her manager that she was struggling with depression. Zelica said her termination was based on customer complaints, but Emma suspects it was due to her disability. While researching her rights online, Emma came across Dispute.ai. Emma couldn't afford to hire a lawyer, so she used Dispute to generate and send a letter to Zelica outlining her concerns and demanding compensation for her wrongful termination. Zelica responded to Emma's letter, denying her claims but suggesting they would be open to discussing a settlement. Emma doesn't feel confident negotiating a settlement on her own, so she comes back to Dispute to invite Zelica to a virtual mediation. She answers some questions about the dispute, including the dispute type, the parties involved, the factual background, what she's seeking for resolution, and the virtual mediation dates that she's available. She creates an account in order to invite Zelica to the virtual mediation. She reviews the information about the mediation and chooses to invite Zelica by email. Separately, Zelica accepts the invitation by answering questions about the dispute from their perspective and selecting the mediation date that works best for them. Once the virtual mediation date is set, the parties download a calendar invite with the details. On the day of the mediation, Emma and Zelica enter the virtual mediation room and meet Adri, the AI mediator. They each answer the same set of questions about their goals for the mediation. Emma's goals are to get $10,000 in compensation for lost wages, and Zelica's commitment to a mental health awareness training program for managers. Separately, Zelica says that their goals are to pay a small amount of severance in exchange for Emma's agreement to drop her claims. Adri reviews all of the information submitted by Emma and Zelica and makes the first proposal for the parties to accept, reject, or modify. Emma reviews the first proposal and decides to modify it because she doesn't want the severance payments in 2 installments. Separately, Zelica rejects this proposal because it's too much money for them to pay in severance. Adri takes all of that information and creates the second proposal. Emma rejects this proposal as it's not enough money, while Zelica accepts. The third proposal looks really good to Emma, so she decides to accept. Separately, Zelica also accepts as it meets their needs as well. Adri celebrates their agreement, outlines the final proposal, and brings them back to the mediation overview. Here, both parties can review the full proposal history and download the agreement. Emma checks out the full proposal history and confirms that she got a great deal. Emma and Zelica were able to attend the virtual mediation from the comfort of their homes, where they may or may not have been wearing their pajamas. Now that's a win-win. Got a beef with someone? Try Dispute AI today.
Renee, you're only going to get 2.
That was a really great presentation. Thank you so much. My question is around the almost legal binding nature of the transaction happening here. If you could talk to that.
Yeah, so basically what will happen is if the parties come to an agreement, it will generate kind of a memorandum of understanding, if you will, that will outline what they agreed to, and they'll each sign it, and it will be binding. And we'll collect payment at that time for the mediation, and one of the things that we want to also do is offer them the ability to process any monetary payment that's due on the platform. And we won't take a cut of that, it'll just be the flat mediation fee. So it is legally binding because they will sign an agreement, but then it's up to them outside of the, the virtual mediation space to actually make sure that they comply with the terms. All right, thank you so much.
Who do you?
Next up, we have Sean, who is building in Bubble to increase access to justice tech.
Who do you call in the middle of the night when you get pulled over driving 50 in a 55? Or who do you call on a Sunday morning when you get word that your loved one has been detained? Hi, my name is Sean Cohen, and I'm one of the co-founders of LawLive. My fellow co-founders and I are all first-generation attorneys. And this means we get a lot of calls from family and friends for legal advice. They call us not just for free legal advice, but because they know we'll answer and because they trust us. When we're able to help, it usually makes a significant difference in their lives. Unfortunately, not everyone has access to an attorney on speed dial. Usually, it's a real problem. Access to justice in the United States is a real problem. Access to legal advice is a real problem. And so we're hoping to change this with Law Live. At Law Live, we connect real people with the right attorney in minutes. When we started looking into the problem, we were sure that this was already figured out. We quickly learned that there's no good way for attorneys and clients to connect in real time. And of course, this can have devastating consequences for people who need legal help in the moment, like in the case of a traffic stop where someone could come in and help de-escalate the situation. So what's the solution? We think the solution is fast access to the right attorney. You shouldn't have to think about things like practice area and what kind of attorney you need. You should just be able to express your concern and get connected to the right attorney. We think people need to be able to connect on their own terms, so it has to be around the clock, 24/7, 365. And we think people are way more likely to use a platform like this if it's affordable. So if it's about the cost of an Uber ride or a DoorDash meal, people are way more likely to take advantage of access to justice. At Law Live, we charge $29 for 30 minutes to speak with an attorney on non-traffic stop matters. And speaking of affordability and traffic stops, for all traffic stop calls on Law Live are completely free. So what does the market look like? In 2023, people spent about $14 billion on online legal services. Interestingly, attorneys spend about $195 billion trying to get customers. That's how much they allocated to get customers in 2023. Obviously, there's a huge problem there, a huge discrepancy. So we plan on disrupting the entire market by connecting people with attorney in real time, by paying attorneys to generate their own leads instead of the opposite, and by offering powerful tools to attorneys. Speaking of tools, this past summer, we just got our patent published for some of the more novel tools and features we plan to offer, like an attorney referral management system. How do we monetize? Well, we charge a nominal fee for facilitating the connection between a consumer and an attorney. We also charge attorneys for access to premium services, like the attorney referral management tool I just mentioned. Attorneys could, of course, join and answer calls for free, but for these extra services, there's a charge. So that's a little bit about Law Live, where we're connecting real people with the right attorney in minutes. We're very excited to show you what we're able to build in the Bubble Immerse program in just a few short weeks. Thank you.
At Law Live, we believe that people should spend more time getting help and less time searching for help. For that reason, every attorney on the Law Live platform is thoroughly vetted by Law Live to ensure that you're connected with a licensed, skilled attorney. This is much more than you get when looking for an attorney with a search engine. We also make it really easy for an attorney to sign up and get vetted. Let me show you how that works. Just click the sign up button, let us know that you're an attorney, and create your login to get started. When an attorney logs in for the first time, they'll be asked to create a profile and answer a series of questions, which should all take less than 5 minutes. After the attorney provides their credentials, authorizes Law Live to check their credentials, and agrees to our terms and conditions, Law Live will begin the vetting process. The attorney will be granted access to the platform after successfully completing the vetting process. You'll notice that Law Live is a mobile-first platform. Both attorneys and clients will be able to manage their accounts easily using our thoughtfully designed app. For example, both clients and attorneys will be able to easily update their account profile and view their call history. Attorneys who are premium members will also be able to access premium Law Live services, such as our automated referral management system. At the core of Law Live is connecting attorneys and clients in real time. We built Law Live for especially fast connections in traffic stop matters. Just log in, verify your location, and select yes when asked if you're being stopped by the police. Start your call when ready, Just like that, you'll be connected to a Law Live attorney.
Hello, EC. My name is Andre Watson. I'm an attorney at Law Live.
Yes, currently in a police stop. I'm a little bit nervous, not sure what to expect, and looking for some support getting through this. Thank you, I appreciate it. It makes me feel a lot better.
After the consultation, the client will rate the attorney and will be ready to connect with any other attorney on the Law Live platform. On the attorney side, when the call ends, attorneys will be returned to the call dashboard and ready to take another call. Law Live doesn't just cover traffic stops. Law Live connects clients and attorneys on almost any legal issue, whether it's the legal implications of AI, immigration matters, labor and employment law, to wills and trusts. Law Live attorneys can help with a wide range of legal issues. Learn more about Law Live at lawlive.us. Thank you.
I had a quick question. Thank you for your presentation. That was really great. My question is around the premium features. Are those add-ons? How is the pricing structure?
So we plan on charging attorneys a flat monthly rate for access to all the premium features. And as I mentioned before, attorneys are able to use the platform completely free. If they don't want to use any of the premium features, they don't have to do that. They can sign up, field calls, and never use any of those features. But we think people really take advantage of some of the features we offer.
I had a question on the eternity side. It's really clear for me why the user would use this, but what's incentives for attorneys to want to use this platform?
That's a great question. So as it stands, attorneys spend a lot of money to generate leads. They're typically paying, maybe $1 per click or what have you to get someone, and then they get terrible leads, right? So people are coming who really won't necessarily result in a case that they could take. And here we're paying attorneys to field every single call. So attorneys are getting the bulk of the funds to field a call, and they decide whether or not to take that call or not. Also, we price Law Live, so if you never take a case, an attorney could make what the average attorney makes in the United States just by fielding the calls. So, all right.
Small question about the rollout strategy. I wanted to ask, how will have you thought out the rollout process from 0 to some amount of scale where attorneys are available 24/7? How is the starting plan going to play out essentially?
Yeah, so we plan to target particular states at first so it's manageable. Vetting attorneys is significant manual work, so we plan to roll out in a certain amount of states at first and then roll out nationwide.
And therefore, have you already got a base of attorneys that are ready basically to cover 24/7?
We already have some attorneys on the platform, but we need to do a lot more work getting attorneys on the platform. So yeah, that's work in progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, can we give our finalists another round of applause, please? Okay. So this is the part of the afternoon where we're going to go and deliberate. So I'm going to take these judges with me. We're going to exit and deliberate, and we're going to have Monica, our program management associate, talk to you about what's happening next. Okay? Thank you all.
She has 8. She has 8.
All right,
Hi, everybody. I'm the aforementioned Monica, and I help run the Immerse program directly alongside Nicole. So as mentioned, we would love for you to cast your votes for the Community Favorite Award. So for those of you who are live, tuning in person in the audience, I want you to take out your phones and pull up the Ring Central or Hopin app. Yes, you heard me correctly. I want you to take out your phones, and it's not a trick, I promise you. We just want to make sure that your voices are heard in this voting process. And then for those of you who are tuning in online remotely, you can cast your submissions vote-wise in the poll that's available to you in the chat. In the meantime, it is my utmost delight to help introduce the following interview guest panelists. So these folks, Estra and Antonia, are intimately aware and knowledgeable of the entrepreneurship space, especially just considering that they were also alums of the Immerse program themselves. So Estra Eltum is the strategy and operations lead at the browser company of New York, creators of the innovative Arc browser. In this role, she oversees finance, business operations, and strategic planning. Prior to this, she co-founded Verve, a collaborative team tool that automates busy work for remote teams, inspired by her time leading high-performing teams at McKinsey & Company. Estra also holds an MBA from Harvard Business School. Opposite from her will be Antonia Walters, who is the co-founder and CEO of Jayla Health, a digital health company providing advanced menopause care through hormone testing, telehealth, and personalized treatment plans. Her commitment to women's health stems from personal and multi-generational family experiences. Before Jayla, Antonia was a corporate associate at Walkdale Lipton and previously held marketing and strategy roles at various startups. Antonia holds degrees from Princeton, Columbia Law School, and Columbia Business School. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming our interview panelists, Estra and Antonia.
Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Antonia, so excited to be here with you today. We're going to be diving into her journey from corporate law to entrepreneurship most recently. We'll kick off with something a little bit fun. Antonia, I've heard through the grapevine that you've been to 60+ countries in all your travels. And I also heard that you're a bit of a foodie and even named your first company after plantain. So first question for you today is, what has been the best meal that you've had on all your travels?
Oh, that's a tough one, but I think what I will say is two of the best places that I've had food are Cape Town, South Africa, and Mexico City. And the reason for that is because you can get the high-end stuff and you can also go to a hole in the wall. So when I was in Cape Town, I went to this place called Bodega Ramen. Very nondescript, but like most delicious, savory, flavorful ramen I've ever had.
Love it. I hope you guys have taken notes there. So let's kick it off with talking through your journey to entrepreneurship. So as I mentioned earlier, you started your career in corporate law, ended up moving into entrepreneurship, two very intense careers in themselves. I guess the first question is, what gave you the conviction to go out and start your own company? Because I know from firsthand experience, it can be one of the most daunting first steps that you take.
Absolutely. So, I think we're all here because we recognize the value in Bubble, and Bubble was truly essential to my story. I don't think I would have had the conviction to start Jayla Health without building my previous product in Bubble. So before I left the law, before I left my, full-time job with health insurance benefits, I built a platform that was tangentially related to what I'm doing now, but there were several key learnings from building that company, and I'm happy to tell you more about that gave me the conviction to kind of pivot away from that idea and formally launch Jayla Health.
Yep, let's maybe dive into that, because I think that's a common theme for a lot of founders, this idea of like pivoting from one idea to another. So walk me through perhaps some of the more rational elements that led you to making that pivot, I guess.
Yeah, so first off, I named the first company Plantain, as you alluded to. So I learned from my next company, I'm never gonna name it something so dear to my heart because there was a little bit of an emotional connection. But when I was working on Plantain and I looked at the customer data, what I realized is most of our clientele were women, specifically 80%. And 80% of women were coming to us for hormonal related issues. And I thought, that's really interesting. And for context, this was a nutrition platform, so we weren't directly working with hormones, but when we looked at the data and when we did customer interviews, that's what it showed. And so I thought at that moment, is this something I'm gonna really deep dive and focus on, or do I want to take the app a different direction? And it was, a personal and difficult decision to make, but ultimately I chose to pivot because I thought the opportunity around women's hormonal health was a huge one, and I thought I could build a really big business given that that's what the data pointed to.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Now, we all say that hindsight is 20/20. As I look back on my journey being a founder, I look back and I say, gosh, I wish I had not done X, Y, Z. I never should have made that move. As you look back on your journey so far, and maybe even perhaps the pivot that you make, is there anything that you'd say with hindsight, I could have played that out differently with regards to the pivot that you made?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of different things, but really, I really just want to highlight the power of Bubble, because there's no way I could have made this pivot as quickly if I hadn't had those learnings for Bubble. So I think in terms of what I would have done differently is maybe keeping the product a little bit more flexible to begin with. Like, we built some very specific features, and it was probably a little too productized in the beginning, if that makes sense. And I think if I had just frankly waited to see how users would interact with the platform, either I could have built those in, or just frankly not spent time building it and pivoting quicker. Because ultimately, as a founder, that's what you're racing against, the clock. You don't have endless resources and time.
100%. And I think that's where the idea of taking open doors is key when building out a product. Again, one big thing here is it often takes a village to build a company. And I hear that you have a co-founder now in building Jayla Health. I understand that's a big decision, almost as important as a life partner, a decision that a lot of people don't take lightly. So I would love it if you could walk us through that journey of how you found a co-founder, because I think for people thinking about taking that leap today, that's perhaps one of the big questions on their mind.
Yeah, I mean, my co-founder and I met basically when my husband and I got married, and I want to say they're not the same relationship, but there are a lot of similarities. I probably talk to my co-founder at this point more than I talk to my husband. We'll have to edit this part out for him. But it can be challenging, and when I was building Plantain, I was actually working with a different co-founder, and it didn't work out, both because I think our skill sets were too similar. We were both kind of on the business side, design side, and two, just frankly because of working styles and life priorities. So it was, in some sense, like a bit of a difficult breakup. Thankfully, it ended amicably, but it's emotional, and it's hard personally and professionally. I met my current co-founder actually through YC Co-Founder Match. We had a Princeton connection, and it has worked out so far splendidly. He is a geneticist by training, so very much on the science side, which is, I learned from my last situation, don't find someone who is the same person as you. So we'll see. I mean, we're still in the early days. It's only been about a year, but I think it's going well.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear. And interestingly, I also met my co-founder at YC Co-Founder Match. So quick plug for anyone looking for a co-founder. I guess one other last thing, you mentioned there this idea of sort of like a skill overlap when thinking about finding a co-founder, which I think is one of the things that comes first to mind to a lot of people, and definitely was something front of mind for me. The other thing I was very aware of was the idea of like how our values aligned. Is that something that you discussed with your co-founder before bringing them on full time? Would love just to think through your thought process throughout that.
Oh gosh. So we basically have a marriage counselor even now, and it's one of our advisors who specifically helps founders kind of navigate their relationships. But to answer your question directly, before we decided to write a line of code, launch on this venture, we did, probably 20 or 25 in-depth questions separately, and they touched on all different questions, like, do you want to build a venture-backed company? How quickly do you want to exit? What time do you like to work? How do you deal with stress and anxiety? And it's trying to get at and pull at some of those real-life difficulties that you will face. So I think, we spent a good amount of time doing that, and we also kind of wrote like a little prenup, air quotes, about how we would handle certain situations. And maybe that's because I was a lawyer, but I thought, at least formalizing this pretty early on would be a good thing for us. But it's a living, breathing document. And even now, we have a weekly sync where we just talk about our interpersonal issues. So if anything happened during the week or during a sprint that we want to improve on, that's when it is the time to discuss it.
I love that. I think that is best practice, ladies and gentlemen, right there. So if you're looking for advice on that front, take it. I guess one last thing, because I'm getting the wave down to wrap up. If you were to leave the audience here with one piece of advice for any sort of new time founders or current founders, what would that be?
Yeah, I think we don't spend enough time talking about the ability to work on a startup full time, right? So I come from an immigrant family. The options were doctor, lawyer, engineer, go make some money. And I wasn't able, I didn't have the resources to just start a company when I was 22. And if you have those resources, that's fantastic. But if you don't, there are things you can do to figure out, when does it make sense to start this company? How can I de-risk that decision, right? And Bubble was a part of that. Bubble gave me conviction to go out there and build a business after leaving my job. But guess what? Working for a number of years as a lawyer and saving money and investing also let me put enough cash in my pocket to be able to do it. And I wish we would really spend more time talking about it, because it's hard. You are funding yourself, for a number of years, and you want to give yourself as much runway to be successful. So I'm happy to connect with anyone about that or any of the other topics, but super excited to be back at Bubble today.
Thank you so much for your time, Antonia, and thank you, everyone. Please give her a round of applause.
Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. So this was a very difficult decision, and I actually want to give another round of applause if you guys can join us and just clapping for everyone as they come on stage here. Emmanuel, follow me. Woohoo! All right, so for our very first prize, our community favorite that all of you voted for, and those of you online, thank you so much. So I'm proud to announce that our community favorite is Patrick, all the way from Galway.
And on my side, I have the honor to give the grand prize for the best pitch. And so this goes to René for Dispute AI. So congratulations.
right, so we're going to close up, but I just want to thank all of you for voting and actually being here tonight, and to our product mentors, the meta team, the marketing team, everyone that had a hand in doing this. Her product mentor, actually, Brian Jagger back there, thank you so much for your support. And that's a wrap. Thank you all.
Thank you.